everyone, my name is Agustina and today I will be talking about the languages that I speak and how I learned them, and also some of my goals related to language for 2020. I will try to make subtitles for this video. I won't include them in the video, but I might make them in YouTube, so you can try to enable them and they might be there. Let's get started. Bueno, el primer idioma que aprendí a hablar es claramente el español porque, si no lo sabían, nací en Argentina, en Buenos Aires, y viví 17 años en Buenos Aires, bueno, sigo viviendo en Buenos Aires, por lo cual en mi día a día hablo español todo el tiempo y lo adquirí de mis padres cuando era chica. Es un idioma que me gusta y estoy agradecida de haber nacido en un país en donde se habla el español, principalmente porque es un idioma muy hablado en el mundo, muy útil y que resulta difícil de aprender si no es tu lengua materna. Nunca noté ser excelente en el español ni que me gustara, o sea, yo siempre fui una chica que le gustó la matemática, que le gustó la física, la química, la biología, o sea, esa es mi área, nunca me interesó la literatura. Sin embargo, sí hay indicadores que mostraron que era buena para las lenguas desde que era chica. Por ejemplo, aprendí a escribir y a leer técnicamente cuando estaba en jardín, cuando tenía 4 o 5 años, lo cual se aprende generalmente a los 6 o a los 7. Y también siempre me destaqué más que nada en la secundaria en las exposiciones orales, en la redacción también de informes. Y bueno, esos son como indicadores que te dicen, che, mira, servís para hablar idiomas. Pero en sí nunca me gustó mucho la literatura, ni la sintaxis, ni la parte así más de análisis de la lengua. Okay, so the second language that I speak is obviously English, and it's the one that, apart from Spanish, is the one that I speak the best and that I feel most comfortable at. How I learned English is kind of like a weird story because it just happened, and my family and I, we don't really know exactly how it happened, but basically I've been traveling ever since I was very young. My parents speak English, so I was in contact with English when I was 2 years old, 3, 4, but it was not the same as Spanish, obviously. And I think that was what made my mind get used to English even though I couldn't speak it. At about 10 years or 11 years, I believe, we started having English classes in school. And the English that is taught in Argentina, like in primary and secondary school, isn't really the best one. So when I went to my first English class, I was in 4th grade, I knew everything that they were saying, and that was crazy because I didn't speak English on a daily basis, and I didn't really speak that much English when I traveled because I was young. So it was crazy to me and to my teacher as well. And I remember they gave us this huge book with activities to make, and it was supposed to last the whole year, the whole school year. And I took it home and I was bored and I started making the activities because why not? And then about 3 weeks later, the book was completely finished, I had done everything, and my teacher was her mind was blown, and she was like, hey, how did you do this? And I was like, I don't know. And that's when I noticed that I really had something for English, and from there I just started listening to videos, listening to music. At about age 11 or 12, I was fluent in English. And then of course that in secondary school the English that they taught me in school helped me improve, but it wasn't crazy. And then in February 2019, so this year, the beginning of this year, I went to Liverpool and I lived there for about 2 months, and I made an English course, and that also helped me out a lot. Yeah, that's my journey with learning English. I love it so much. It's one of my favorite languages, I feel like. I just love it a lot. Le français. J'ai commencé à apprendre le français il y a 6 mois, et pour ça j'ai fait beaucoup d'erreurs. C'est une langue qui est un peu difficile, et la prononciation, la grammaire, il y a beaucoup de choses que je sais pas ou je comprends pas. Mais c'est une langue que j'aime parce que la prononciation peut-être c'est très difficile, oui, mais c'est incroyable, je l'aime. Et c'est une langue très très différente des autres que je connais. Et pour ça, je l'aime. C'est vrai que quand j'ai commencé à l'apprendre, je pensais que la langue serait très facile parce que c'est une langue qui est latine, c'est une langue qui est similaire à l'espagnol en quelques aspects. Mais une fois que j'ai commencé à l'apprendre, je me suis rendu compte que c'était un peu difficile. Maintenant, je peux parler, je peux me communiquer, je peux m'exprimer et ça c'est très bon. Ce qui est un peu difficile de français est que je ne peux pas le pratiquer. Je n'ai pas des amis qui parlent français et j'ai un heure par semaine de classe. Alors ça n'est pas beaucoup. Et aussi, maintenant, nous sommes en été, et ici en Argentine, et je n'ai pas de classe. Alors pour ça, je ne peux pas progresser tellement en français. Mais pour les prochaines années, j'espère que je vais apprendre et pratiquer plus de français e che je vais m'améliorer en français. L'italiano è una lingua che ho cominciato a imparare 2 settimane fa. Per questo non sono molto brava e non conosco molte parole. Non ho un professore, non ho lezioni di italiano e l'imparo completamente sola. È un po' difficile praticare sola, è un po' difficile parlare sola perché non ho amici che la parlano la lingua e non ho famiglia che la parlano. Ho sempre voluto parlare italiano. La mia famiglia era d'Italia, del nord Italia di Friuli, ma la mia famiglia non parla italiano. Infatti i miei genitori non parlano italiano, nessuno della mia famiglia parla italiano. Per ora l'italiano è stato un po' facile e un po' difficile. Perché? Perché la pronuncia è facile, le parole sono facili, ma non poter praticare è un po' difficile, non avere persone che lo parlano è difficile. Allo stesso modo adoro l'italiano, è molto divertente, la sua pronuncia è molto interessante. L'anno prossimo aspetto poter esercitarmi quando vado a Roma e anche esercitarmi lì nell'Argentina. So, to finish this whole video off, I'm going to talk a little bit about my language goals for 2020 or 2020, however you want to call it. I am very surprised and proud of myself for my progress in French and also in Italian. And I, of course, want to keep going with those 2 languages because I really love them. So next year I will be practicing them and I hope I can get to a better level, that I can get to an upper intermediate. And I would also like to start learning new languages. I'm very interested in German, but I am aware that it's quite difficult. I'm also interested in learning Norwegian, which is so random, I know, but I'm interested in that language, and I feel like I might also learn Portuguese, mostly because knowing Italian, French and Spanish, it should be easier for me to learn it. So I might do that, but it's not really a language that I like. Aside from that, there are also languages that I would love to learn, but I feel like I'm not prepared to. For example, Russian. So crazy, I know, but I would love to speak Russian. Those are my goals. So they are getting actually fluent in French and Italian and trying or starting to learn either Portuguese or German, most likely German. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was interesting for you. If you have any questions about language learning, how I do it, what my recommendations are, or just want to talk to me, you can talk to me on Instagram, which is at @awusbukalearning. I'll write it here. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, you can subscribe, and if not, you don't have to. So yeah, I'll see you later. Bye!